Screen is visible, students?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We are going to start with module 3 today, and module 3 is on counters, programming the counters. In the previous classes, we have gone through various topics on timers, and we have also defined what is a timer, right? The counter is same as that of a timer. The main difference between timer and counter is that the timer counts up every time when the clock signal is applied. When the clock signal is applied, the timer will count. This clock signal is nothing but the pulses, right? Zeros and ones, what you have studied in your basic electronics, the digital part, right? Zeros and ones, that is transition from 0 to 1 state. That will cause a pulse, a rectangular waveform, right? Not a sine waveform, but a rectangular waveform. Okay. Now, when this clock signal is applied, the timer will start to count. That is how the timer is counting its time based on the clock signal that is applied. And this clock signal that is applied is within the PLC. It is within the PLC. That means it is within the system that is used for performing the particular operation. Now, when we use a counter, counter is also counting as that of a timer. Counter can count in up direction or in down direction, right? There are two ways. The counter can count in the up direction, say from 1 to 50. It will count. It is in up direction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up till 50. Then the counter can also count in the downward direction from 50 to 0 or from minus 50 to 0. It can count in the other direction, downward direction. The counter which counts like this requires some clock pulses, that is 0 to 1 transition or 1 to 0 signal, the digital signal. Now that digital signal is provided from external sources. That means it is applied external to the PLC. It is not present within the PLC. We have to apply this clock signal outside the PLC. Externally we have to apply. Or it may so happen that we have written a program, the coding, in such a way that in the program itself we are applying the clock signal. Okay, that is also another possibility. In this way the counter will count, and the difference between timer and counter is timer makes use of the internal clock pulses, internal clock signal that is within the, which is present within the system, within the PLC, whereas the counter makes use of the clock pulses for counting which are present external to the PLC. It is applied externally or separately for the counting operation. This is the main difference between the timer and the counters. Now we came to know what is a counter. Counter, the name itself indicates counting operation. It counts either in the forward direction, that is in upward direction, or in the backward direction or in the downward direction. Let us start with the mechanical counters, how the time counters have evolved, right? First, initially there came the mechanical counters. It is just a brief history about the counters. The mechanical counters, as we know, when we operate a lever, that time the count incremented by 1. Okay, for example, your wristwatch, right? It comes with the knob. When you rotate that knob, what will happen? The date will increment by 1. Right? The date you are setting the time in a wristwatch. Yes, when you rotate that knob, small knob, it is operating the lever inside, wherein with the operation of the lever mechanism, the date is incremented by 1. Yes, in this way it is counting, or it is increasing in the upward direction. The date you can increase or you can decrease, right? It is left to the individual, the user, whether to increment the count or to decrement the count. That means in the simple mechanical counter, every time the actuating lever is moved over, the counter adds one number. And once we set to that particular value, once we set the wristwatch to a particular value, what we'll do, we'll come back and we'll press it so that now it is reset or it is set to that required value. Okay. Then there is a particular knob to reset it. Once we press it, what will happen? When we press that knob, it is resetting, or it will set to that particular value whatever we have set. It will go back to its initial position, normal position, when we press that knob. Correct. This is how the mechanical counters are meant for counting purpose. The actuating lever then returns automatically to its original position. Resetting to 0 is done with the push button located on the side of the unit. You can reset the counter to 0 with the help of the reset button. Now there are electronic counters. Electronic counters, they can count in the upward direction or in the downward direction or in both the directions. That is combination of upward and downward directions. Both are possible at a single stretch. Either it can count upwards or it can count downwards, or combination of both at a time, upward direction as well as downward direction. That is also possible. They are called as up down counters. You can set the direction. You can set the direction. When you set the direction to say up equal to 1, you are enabling that up counter. It will start to count in the upward direction. When you enable the down counting, signal, then it will start to count in the downward direction. Although the majority of counters used in industry are up counters, but there are numerous applications where down counting operation is also involved in the industry, or combination of up and down counters. Whatever examples I give now, if you just merge them, that will give us up down counters. Now, for example, let us say you are counting the number of items on a PLC conveyor belt. You are counting the number of items, right? It is up counting. You go on counting how many items, first item, second item, third, fourth, fifth, like that. Now, when it comes to placing these items from one compartment to another compartment, or from one box to another box, you want to shift the items. That time what you do, you go for down counting. How many items you have shifted? Okay, say you have counted initially up counting 10 items. Then you go on shifting them from one box to another box. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Like this will come down to 1. Okay. So this is down counting. We can merge or we can combine both up counting and down counting so that it will provide us the up down counter operation. All PLC manufacturers offer some form of counter instruction as part of their instruction set. There are counter instructions, that is counter instructions which are used in the ladder diagram, okay, which form part of the instruction set or which form part of the ladder rung instructions. One such counter application is keeping track of the number of items moving past a given point, as illustrated in the next figure. In the figure here, they have illustrated how the counting operation takes place. This is a conveyor belt, what you are seeing at the bottom position. And as this conveyor belt is rotating, as it is moving, the items on the conveyor belt are also in a moving position. Okay, they are moving. Then as it comes to this point, this red color marking what you are seeing here, this is the marking that is maintained. As the items pass this point, this display will be incremented by 1. Okay, the display will be incremented by 1. That means there is a counter here inside the PLC which is performing the counting operation. And based on the count value, it is displaying that count value on the display. Yes, this is how the counting operation is taking place. Counters are similar to timers except that they do not operate on an internal clock but are dependent on external or program sources for counting. This is the point I mentioned earlier, difference between timer and counter. Counters, they make use of external clock signal or the clock signal which is mentioned in the program, which is used in the program, and timers are the ones which perform the counting, but they make use of clock signal which is inside the PLC. There are two methods here to represent counter within a PLC ladder logic program. There are two ways of representing the counter instruction. First format is called as the coil representation format, and second format is a block format. These are the two formats of representing the counter instructions: coil format, and then one more is the block format. Coil format and the block format. Let us see what is this coil format and what is the block format. The next figure shows a typical coil formatted up counter instruction. As we can see in this figure, it is a up counter instruction, coil formatted. What is the meaning of coil formatted up counter instruction? Coil formatted up counter instruction, here it consists of a coil, the relay coil. Okay, it is an internal contact. Yes, as this contact gets closed, as it goes from 0 to 1, there is a transition from false to true state. The rung also becomes true. That rung will become true as this contact gets closed. That means it goes from false state to true state, or it goes from 0 state to 1 state. The rung will become true. When the rung becomes true, this counter will be activated. The up counter will be activated. That means the counters are activated when the rung is becoming true from false state to true state. Remember this point. When the rung becomes true state from the false state, or when it goes from false state to true state, that time the counters are activated, up counter or down counter. Here they have also indicated the type of counter. CTU means up counter. If it is CTD, it is down counter. Then the address of the counter, that is in which memory location this up counter is stored. The various bits of the up counter, maybe the control bits or the preset bit or the accumulator bit, they are stored in which address, which memory locations of the bit image file. That is this address, counter address. Okay, that is given here, counter address. Then next is PR. There is a preset. As we discussed for the timer, the concepts almost remain the same for the counters as that of the timers. Okay, that only the point that is changing here is one thing is that the counters are activated in synchronization with the external clock. This clock is such a a pulse. It is such a digital digital source, wherein it synchronizes all the operations. Now in a PLC, there are different operations. First, it has to input the data, then it has to process that according to the rung diagram, according to the program that is written, then it has to provide the output. Okay, now these operations, inputting the data, processing the input data, and then sending the output to the display or to control the field devices, all these are synchronized with the help of this clock signal. Okay, that is, this clock is very important because it is the one which maintains the synchronization. It maintains the synchronization between different operations. When, at what time the input data should be collected from the input device, at what time the processing should take place, at what time the output should be displayed on the display, or at what time the output data should control the field device. All these are synchronized with the clock signal. Okay, so that is the main difference between that is timer and counter. There is one part, and I told a point about the that is importance of the clock signal or the importance of the clock pulses. Okay, then here we have preset. And then there is preset, and then there is a accumulated value. Preset value is the set point value. And then accumulated value is the one which is the current value or the present value. It goes on changing or accumulating as the counter is counting. Yes, this is called as the accumulator, AC, which is the present value or current value, and preset value is the set point value. Once the accumulated value becomes equal to preset value, the counter has to stop. It has to stop counting operation, right? Let us see the details about that. The up counter increments its accumulated value by 1 each time the counter rung makes a false to true transition. Whenever the rung of the counter makes false to true transition, it is 0 to 1 state, that time the up counter will increment its accumulated value, AC value, by 1. When the accumulated count equals the preset count, that is the accumulated value, when it becomes equal to set point value, the counter output is energized or set to 1. When is the counter output energized? The counter output is enabled. Here, which bit is enabled? In the case of timer, which bit is enabled once the accumulated value becomes equal to preset value? In the case of timers, when the accumulated value becomes equal to the preset value, which bit is enabled or which bit is set? Yes, please. Who will tell me? Which bit will be set when the accumulated value will become equal to the preset value in case of timers? And the same is also holding good for the counters also, which is that once the timer completes its timing operation, which bit is enabled there? Which bit is set?
Done bit.
Done bit. Excellent. Done bit is set. DN bit. Okay. So when this done bit is set, it indicates that the timer operation is completed. Timer has completed its operation. Okay. Similarly, in the case of counters also, when the counter counts its counting operation, after the completion of its counting process, the done bit will be activated. Done bit will be made equal to 1. Here they have shown part of the instruction, that is counter type. They have shown here. In this diagram, we can see the counter type, counter address, preset value, accumulated value, and when the rung will become true. That is when the contact, or when this relay contact, when it goes from false to true state, when it becomes 1, when it is energized, that time the rung is becoming true. As the rung becomes true, the counter will be activated. Counter type, counter address, counter preset value, accumulated count. File formatted counter and the reset instructions. In case of timer, what happens if I apply the reset signal? I'm applying a reset signal. What happens to the accumulated value in the timer? Whether it will remain as it is? What will happen to that? To the accumulated value? Yes, please. When I apply a reset signal to the timer, what will happen to the accumulated value?
Zero.
Yes, yes, Inoj. It will become
Zero.
0. Exactly, it will become 0. Reset is used whenever we want to make the accumulated bit 0. Okay, if we want to make the accumulated bit 0, apply this reset signal separately, so that whatever is the accumulated bit, that will become 0. Here also in the counters, reset signal is applied to make the accumulated value 0, but there is one main difference between the timer reset and the counter reset, or the timer operation and the counter operation. The second difference, the difference is that in the case of timers, when the timer is counting, and as it counts, it reaches the final value. Okay, there, when it reaches the final value, when it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, reset, okay, it will not become 0 until a separate reset signal is applied. The timer, until a separate reset signal is applied to it, whatever is the time value, it will become 0 once you apply the reset signal in case of timers. Okay, but in case of counters, what will happen is, if it is a counting operation, it will count to the maximum value. Say it is going from 1 to 55, it counts from 1 to 55. After 55, it will not come to 0, it will retain that value 55. But in timer, what will happen? Once the timer reaches from 1 to 55, again it will come back to 1. Okay, here the point is that when you apply the reset signal, when you're applying the reset signal, in case of timers, it is resetting to 0. I'll come to that 1 minute. Just the counter reset instruction must be used in conjunction with the counter instruction. Up counters are always reset to 0. Down counters may be reset to 0 or to some preset value. Down counters may be reset to 0 or they may be set to some other value. Some manufacturers include the reset function as part of the general counter instruction. Some manufacturers include this reset function as a part of the general counter instruction, whereas some manufacturers, they provide a separate reset instruction. In some instructions provided by manufacturers, the reset part is present along with the counter instruction. But in some of the instructions, the reset instruction is present separately. It is present separately. The next figure shows a coil formatted counter instruction with a separate instruction for resetting the counter. It is a coil formatted counter instruction with a separate instruction for resetting the counter. As we can see here in this figure, this is the ladder rung 1, rung 2. Here, when this contact becomes closed, the rung will become true, the rung will become true, and the counter will start to count. When this contact goes from false to true state, this rung will become true, right? And when this counter rung becomes true, the up counter will start to count in the upward direction. Here preset value is that whatever they are given, then accumulated value is 0. It will start to count from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 like this until accumulated value becomes equal to preset value. Then once we want to activate the reset instruction, suppose I want to make the value to 0. Okay, I want to make the value to 0. So what is done? I will operate this contact. This is the contact which I am using in the rung 2 for resetting the counter. This CTR has the same memory location as that of the up counter. The reset instruction address in the memory location is same as the up counter address which is used in the memory map or in the bit image table. Okay, the addresses are same. Then when I activate this, when I close this reset contact, then what will happen? As I close this reset contact, the rung will become true, the rung will become true, reset rung will become true, and the counter reset instruction is executed. Counter reset instruction is executed. When this reset counter instruction is executed, whatever value is there, accumulated value, that will become 0. That will become 0. This is with the help of the reset instruction, with which the bit accumulated count, whatever it is there, that is reset to 0. Okay, this is the coil formatted counter and the reset instructions. Still we have not gone through block format. This is the coil formatted counter and the reset instructions. The next figure shows a coil formatted counter instruction with a separate instruction for resetting the counter. When programmed, the counter reset coil is given the same reference address as the counter up that is to be reset. Both addresses are same. The memory location of the up count is same as the memory location of the reset instruction. Both instruction memory location are same. Because we have to reset this bit, accumulated bit, therefore their memory location must be same. Is it not? If you give a different address, then how it will come to know which bit or which memory location is to be reset? It will not come to know. If only both the memory locations are same, then this will operate counter reset instruction and it will make that accumulator bit which is in the same memory location to become 0. In this example, the reset instruction is activated whenever the CTR rung condition is true. The next figure shows block formatted counter. Block formatted counter is in the form of a block, as we can see in this figure. Here it is the input. Suppose say this is the input which is for sensing the counting operation. Suppose let us say this is a proximity switch. Proximity switch is the one which senses the nearby objects based on the distance. Yes, we have studied this in our module 2, various types of sensors. Okay, once it senses the object, so that object should be counted, and that is done by this counter rung or the counter instruction. This counter instruction will count the number of input items. Now, as this proximity switch senses the count line, this gets closed. This is a normal examine if closed. So when it gets closed, when this condition is true, rung is true, the counter will start to count. The counter will start to count, and the type of counter may be different. It can be an up counter or a down counter. Reset value, that is set point value, and the accumulated value. As it starts to count, the accumulated value becomes equal to set point value, and then when we press the reset, okay, that time what will happen? It will become 0. Once the reset is pressed, only then the counter value will become 0. Okay, let us see that point, related point again. The instruction block indicates a type of counter along with the counter's preset value and accumulated or current value. The counter has two input conditions associated with it, namely the count and the reset. It has two input conditions, as we can see here. One is the count input line, another one is the reset line. It has two inputs. All PLC counters operate or count on the leading edge of input signal. The PLC operate on the leading edge. Leading edge means when the rung goes from false to true. All the PLCs operate when the counter rung goes from false state to true state, and they will not operate during the condition when the rung is going from true state to false state. The counter instructions in the rung will never operate. They will operate only when the counter rung is going from false state to true state, always. Okay, that is what is called as a leading edge of the clock signal. Leading edge means it will go from 0 to 1. That is the leading edge. Trailing edge means when it is going from high state to low state. Remember, leading edge means when the clock signal is going from low state to high state, that is from 0 to 1 transition, the clock pulse, a digital signal, right, rectangular waveform, that is called as the leading edge. When the clock goes from high to low state, that is up is high, that is 1 state or plus 5 volts, that goes from plus 5 volts to 0 volts, 1 state to 0 state, that is called as the trailing edge. All these PLCs, they'll operate only during the leading edge or when the rung is going from false state to true state. The counter will either increment or decrement whenever the count input transfers from an off state to an on state. That is what it is. The counter will increment or it will decrement whenever the counter input transfers from off state to on state. That is when the rung goes from off state to on state. The counter will never operate on the trailing edge, or it will never operate during the on to off transition of the input conditions. The counter will never operate during the trailing edge of the clock signal. Some manufacturers, this is one of the interesting point, some manufacturers require the reset rung to go from false state to true state to activate the counter. Some manufacturers, they will program in such a way that for the true to false condition of the rung, the counter instruction is getting activated. It depends on the manufacturer. Siemens may manufacture in a different way. Allen Bradley may manufacture in a different way. Different manufacturers can manufacture in different ways. Okay, but whenever the programmer, the user wants to write a program, what he should refer to, the programmer should refer to the manual provided by that company. Okay, company manual which is provided by that manufacturer, you should refer to that, and then accordingly you should use the instructions, counter instructions. Okay, it's very important to refer to the manual provided by the manufacturer, and then accordingly change or make the necessary adjustments or alterations in the program with respect to the given manual. For this reason, it is wise to consult the PLC's operations manual before attempting any programming of counter circuits, because we don't know how the manufacturer has programmed it, whether for false to true state the rung is getting activated, or from true to false state the rung is getting activated. We don't know. We'll come to know about that only when we refer to the manual. This is an important point. PLC counters are normally retentive. That is, whatever count was contained in the counter at the time of processor shutdown. That means when the processor shutdown means when the power supply is off, whatever count was present in the counter, that will be retained. That will not become zero, right? Will be restored to the counter on power up. Suppose there is a power supply off, the counter value should become 0, but it will not become 0. Even after you turn on the power supply, the counter value will be maintained. This is the main difference, but one more difference between the timer and the counter. Okay, in the case of timer, what is happening? If there is a power supply off, the timer value is becoming 0, right? Is becoming 0. But in the case of counters, what will happen? Even after a shutdown, that is power supply off, it is not becoming 0. Even after the power is restored back, it will retain its original value. The counter may reset, however, if the reset condition is activated at a time of power restoration. There is counter which is under operation, which is counting, right? And then suddenly there is a power supply off. Power supply is off. Okay, when the power supply is off, that time the counter value should become 0, but it will not become 0. When you restore back the power supply, when you turn on the power supply again, the counter value, accumulated value, will remain the same. It will remain whatever value was it having previously. Okay, but suppose during the power supply turn on, at that condition, at that instant, suppose there is a reset instruction, you are applying a reset instruction. As you apply the reset instruction during the turn on of the power supply, the counter will not give you back the original value, but it will provide the 0. It will provide 0 because you are applying the reset signal. Separate external reset signal you are applying so as to make the counter value to 0. Okay. The up counter increments by 1 every time the rung containing the counter is energized. Every time when you energize the rung, when it condition for the rung goes from false to true, that time the up counter is incremented by 1. What about for down counter? Now don't think that for down counter the rung condition will go from true to false, then it will get activated. No, for the down counter also, it is, though it is down counting in the downward direction, but for the same condition, that is when the rung goes from false to true, that time the down counter will be activated. Both for up counter and for the down counter, when the rung condition goes from false to true state, they will become activated. Clear here? I hope everyone are following here. Any questions up till now? Any difficulties? Students, are you following here? Students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll proceed further then. These rung transitions can result from the events occurring in the program. Just now I showed the diagram here, this diagram. Right here we are applying the count of the items, that is the input signal to the counter. Once that input signal is applied, say counting the number of items, and when the rung becomes true, this contact becomes closed, then the counter is activated to count the number of items. So the input here is the number of items on the conveyor belt. Then the second input is a reset input. This is also the input, reset input. When you want to stop the activities, you are pressing this reset switch. Then when the reset, this contact becomes closed, the rung becomes true. It will go from false to true state, and that time the accumulated value here, whatever was the accumulated count of the number of items, that will become 0. Okay. Then this reset condition, why it is necessary, students? Why we require reset student, switch students? Why it is necessary? Can you just think of it? What would happen if the reset was not present? Yes, please. What would happen if the reset was not present? Yes, students, tell me. What is the need of the reset? Why it is required? Can you just give a thought on it? Yes, please. Anybody?
So to make the accumulated 0.
Correct. Okay, and that is the function of the reset. Now, what would have happened if the reset was not present? If reset signal was not present, let us say, what would have been the condition of the timers and the counters? Let us take counters itself. Now we are studying that. If reset was not present, what would have happened? See, now counting the number of items, that is one operation. Okay, one job, counting the number of items.
Continuous count. It would continuously count, sir.
Correct. Continuously count means now it is counting the number of items. That is our first job, first task. It is counting. It will count up till the maximum value based on the number of items. Yes, and then it has to immediately switch over to the second job, second operation, second counting, or counting some other items. It need not be counting of the same items as that of the previous one. It may be counting of some other items. Yes, it has to switch over from that to this to that, right? So for that switching, we have to make it to 0. Otherwise, what will happen if the accumulated value is say 55, counting the number of first items, the particular the first type of items, it is 55, count is 55. Then you all want to count the second type of item. How much is the number of items there? Okay. For that, if the count remains 55 only, then the whatever it is counting the next time, it will be accumulated value. 55 say, and the next type of item say there are 20. So it will give you 75. Total value it will give, but it will not give you the separately what is the count of the second type of items. Correct. So for that sake, we require the reset input. Once we make the reset input to 0, it will help us to count the next items, or in sequence what all items are present, the next jobs. So those will be, we are be able to count them. Okay. That is the importance of the reset signal. We are here. The up counter is incremented by 1 each time the rung containing a counter is energized. Down counter decrements by 1 each time the rung containing the counter is energized. This we have covered. Then reset value of a programmable controller counter can be set by the operator. The preset value of the programmable controller. This either the user can store it, or the program can take the decision what should be the preset value that can be stored into the counter. One way is we can store the preset value, the user, how much should be the final value, set point value, we can decide. That is one option. Another option is it can be set by the program. The program can take the decision what should be the final value or the preset value. Okay. The next figure shows the counting sequence of an up counter and a down counter. Let us look into that figure. This is the counter counting sequence. This is for the limit switch. They have shown the contact for the limit switch. When the limit switch is closed, when the limit switch is in closed condition, this will be activated. That is, it goes to closed condition. It is true. Then the rung becomes true and the counter will be enabled. The counter will start to count. Right? How many counts it will make based on the number of inputs? It depends on the number of input items. The input items are say 50, it will count up till 50. If the input items are say 100, it can count up till 100 based on the number of items. Here there are only 4 items what it is counting. So 4 pulses, and accordingly it has counted 4. That is up direction. How many pulses or how many inputs? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 pulses. Each pulse represents the false to true transition of the rung diagram of that particular rung, or the input, whatever is being applied, its status is being shown by the clock pulses here. Yes, there are 4 clock pulses or 4 inputs. Accordingly, the count value is 4. It is incremented up till plus 4. It will go up till accumulated value becomes equal to preset value. There is off to on, up counter, off to on. Correct. So it goes from off to on. That is, output done bit is enabled once the accumulated value becomes equal to preset value. This is in case of the up counter, for the up counter. Okay. Next, for the down counter, this is a sensor. Let us say it is some sensor, and we want to count the number of items. We are moving say from one box to another box. The number of items we want to count in the downward direction. That is, how many items have been moved in 30 seconds. Okay. For that, we are using a sensor to count the number of items. When this is closed, when this contact is closed, the rung becomes true. When rung becomes true, the counter will operate in the downward direction. It will start to decrement its count value. Okay. Now, how many counts it was initially? It was -5. It has counted. Right. -5 means initially for every count, the count value is initially set to +5, or say 10. 10 is the count value initially. Correct. -10. Then for every input, for every clock pulse, it is decrementing by 1. Say there is first input. You have moved the item from the first box to second box, some other box. Then it will decrement by 1. -10 to -9 it will come. Then second item you moved. It will come from -9 to -8. Then third item has been moved, -8 to -7. Like this, when it has moved 5 items, the count value has come up till -5. The count value has come to the -5 value. This is how, based on the number of items that is being moved from one box to another box. For example, we have the count value as -5. Okay, these pulses represent the count value at the end. Initially there were 10, but as it goes on counting, it has come down up till -5. It has counted 5 items in the downward direction. Accumulated value, again, when it becomes equal to preset value, there is off to on transition of the done bit. The done bit will become high, and when the done bit becomes high, the output will be energized. Is this diagram clear here, students? Any difficulty here in this diagram? Any difficulty in this diagram? Any questions here? If you have anything to ask, you can ask. Yes, clear? Inoj, shall we move ahead? Students,
sir.
shall we move ahead? Okay, right. The up counter, next one. Up counter is an output instruction whose function is to increment its accumulated value on false to true transition of its instruction. Whenever the instruction, that is up counter instruction, goes from false to true state, that time the up counter output will also start to increment. Okay, that is when the up counter instruction is used in the ladder rung diagram, and when the rung up counter instruction goes from false state to true state, that time what will happen, the up counter instruction will start to increment. Up counter is an output instruction whose function is to increment its accumulated value on false to true transition, 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 okay, of its instruction. It thus can be used to count false to, it can thus be used to count false to true transitions of an input instruction and then trigger an event after a required number of counts or transitions. It is used to count the transition, false to transitions, how many transitions have occurred. If there are, say, around 20 false to true transitions, then what is the count? 20. If there are 30 false to true transitions, then the number of count will be 30. Okay, like that. Okay. It can be used to count false true transitions of an input instruction and then trigger an event after a required number of counts or transitions. It has reached the count value. If you want any event to occur, you can make the event to trigger. The count value has reached, say, from 1 to 20. You want to perform certain action. You want to control the field devices. That time you can go for anyway. Okay. By all means, you can control the field devices once the counter has reached its maximum value. The up counter output instruction, that the same point, will increment by 1 each time the counted event occurs. Whatever input counting you are doing, for example, the number of items you are counting, there is an input. Based on the event, that based on the input occurrence, the event occurrence, it is counting. Okay, that is the up count. The next one, we will be going through a counter program, a simple counter program. Let us look into that. It is as good as the timer programs. Just there we were using the timer switch. Here we'll be using the counter switch. Okay, that is the difference. Okay, let us see how it is working in case of up counters. This is the push button one, PB1, for the counting operation. Every time when it is pressed, when this PB1 switch is pressed, what is happening? This switch will go from false state to true state. It will go from 0 to 1. Open condition is 0. When both are closed, contacts are closed, it is 1 state. So it is false condition is 0, true condition is 1. Okay. Every time when we press this switch, it is going from false state to true state. That time this PB1 count contact, it is normally, it is examine if closed, this will become true, the rung will become true. The rung will become true. Once the rung becomes true, CTU, that is counter up counter, this will start to count. This will start to count. It's a block type of instruction. It's not the coil format type of instruction. It's the block format type of instruction that is used here. Then it will start to count. It goes from accumulated value 0 up till the preset value 7. Up till the preset value 7. As it reaches the maximum value, what is happening? What should happen then? Once it reaches the maximum value, yes, please. What should happen once it reaches the maximum value? First, during its starting, it is count up. CU bit is enabled. Count up, correct? This enable bit. Then it will start to count. Once it has reached the maximum value 7, DN bit is enabled. Done bit. When DN bit is enabled, C5:1/DN. This is activated. Done bit. Meaning of activated means what? Here done bit will go from low state to high state. Done bit will go from low state to high state. When this done bit goes from low state to high state, that is, it is closed condition of the instruction, examine if closed. Because of this rung becomes true and the red pilot light will be glowing. Red pilot light will glow when the done bit is 1. Let us come to the third rung. In the third rung, what is happening? Initially, before the counting has started, okay, our counting has about started, just started, that time it is done bit is still 0, it has not become 1. When the done bit is becoming 1, done bit is becoming 1 only after the counting operation is completed. So when the done bit becomes 1, then only this contact gets closed and red pilot light is getting turned on. But here done bit is 0 still when the counter has started. When it is 0, this is examine if open. So this condition becomes true here. Examine if open, because done is 0. 0 means open, 1 means closed. Examine if open, this condition is true, the rung is true, and the green pilot light will be turned on. Green pilot light will be turned on. Is it not, students? This is how it is operating here. Then the reset instruction, which is used in rung 4, this is pressed, that is this reset switch, as you all can see here, PB2, reset input, PB2. When we press this reset switch, what is happening? This contacts gets closed, it condition becomes true, rung becomes true, and the reset will be operated, or reset will be activated. C5:1, that is for the counter. It has the same address as that of the counter. So when both are having same address, when reset instruction is executed, the count value will become 0. We are using a separate reset instruction to reset the counting value. Okay, to reset the accumulated value to 0. This is how this program works to count in the upward direction, or counting in the upward direction. Okay. The figure 6 shows the program and timing diagram for an SLC 500 up counter. This control application is designed to turn the red pilot on and the green pilot light off after an accumulated count of 7. After the accumulated count of 7, then what is happening? After the count of 7 is reached, the done bit is getting activated, and then because of that, red pilot light is turned on. And at the initial stage, when the done bit is 0 still, that time the green pilot light is turned on. Okay. The operation of the program can be summarized as follows. Operating push button PB1 provides the off to on transition pulses. They are counted by the counter. As the PB1 switch is pushed, when we are pressing the PB1 switch, as the number of switches, as the number of pushes have been pressed here, as the number of presses have been done on this PB1 switch, based on that it is counting the PB1 value. Just a minute, students. Okay. Operating push button PB1 provides the off to on transition pulses. They are counted by the counter. It is based on how many presses have been made on the PB1 switch. Right? It counts that many number of counts. If the switch has been pressed for 10 times, that is off to on transition is for 10 times, then it will be counting the count as 10. It will be counting the count as 10. Okay. This is how it will work to perform the counting operation. The preset value of the counter is set for 7. Each fast through transition of rung 1 increases the counter's accumulated value by 1. After 7 pulses or 7 counts, when the preset counter value equals the accumulated count value, output DN is energized. DN with done bit will be energized. As a result, rung 2 becomes true and energizes output O:2/0 to switch the red pilot on. That is what we explained here. So this C5:1/DN, this is enabled to turn the green pilot on, and then initially when it is 0 still, the done bit is 0 still, that time the red LED will be glowing here. Green LED will be glowing. Once the done bit becomes 1, the red pilot light will be turned on. The address, they have given the addresses for these input switches. The address of this input switch PB1 is I:1/0, and for PB2 it is I:1/1. Okay, so this output, it has the address O:2/0. Okay, O:2/0. Then this is O:2/1. Okay, that is output to slot number 0, output 2, that is slot number 1, input 1 slot number 0, input 1 slot number 1, like that, rack number and the slot number. Okay, similarly for the red pilot light and the green pilot lights. At the same time, rung 3 becomes false and de-energizes output O:2/1 to switch the green pilot light off. Counter is reset by closing push button PB2, which makes rung 4 true and resets the accumulated count to 0. Is it not? Counting can resume when rung 4 goes false again. Suppose if rung 4 goes false, that is this last rung, when it becomes false. When it will become false? It will become false only when we release this reset switch. Only when we release this reset switch, only then it will become false, and then as it becomes false, again the counter will be incremented. Again the counter will be started to increment. Okay. The Allen Bradley SLC 500 counter file is file number 5. The next diagram shows the Allen Bradley SLC 500 counter file. This is a timing diagram, students. The same as we explained just now for this counter program. It's a timing diagram for that. Here, as you can see, this is the input condition. That is rung becoming false to true. Every time when we press this PB1 switch, that time what is happening? As we are pressing it, the rung is going from false to true state. Correct? That is why this is shown as false to transition. These are the pulses here. Pulses. This is the called as 0 to 1 pulse. 0 state, this is 1 high state. Okay, 0 to 1. This is as good as the clock pulses. Okay, clock pulses are similar to these ones. Then as it goes from false to true transition, right, there it has counted for 7. Accumulated value goes counting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. As it reaches 7, the rung true becomes true. Rung 2. What is there in rung 2? The done bit becomes 1, and when done bit becomes 1, this is activated. Red pilot light will glow. That is the rung 2. So red pilot light will glow here. Rung 2, this is becoming from false to true state. Then in the rung 3 is consisting of green pilot light, green lamp. This will become high when the done bit is 0. When the done bit is 0 at the beginning, it will become high because it is examine if open instruction. It will become high. Once the green pilot light becomes high, that is during the starting position, and then it will remain in the high state. Green pilot light up till the last value. When the done bit becomes 1, that time the examine if open instruction becomes false, because when the done bit becomes 1, it is closed condition, becoming 1. Examine if open becomes false, and then rung 3 will become off. That is, the green pilot light will be turned off, going from high to low state. Rung 4, it is the pressing of the reset switch. When this reset switch is pressed, only during low to high transition here. That is, when the counting process has occurred, it has ended up. When the counting process has stopped, that time the reset is pressed. Okay, so that whatever is the counted value, that will become 0. So resetting means what, friends? Stopping all the activities. The meaning of resetting is stopping all the activities. All the activities will be stopped. And what is the accumulated value? Accumulated value, it has become 7, and it will remain 7 up till the reset switch is pressed. Once the reset switch is pressed, accumulated value becomes from 7 to 0. 7 to 0. Okay. Each counter is consisting of three 16-bit words. They are called as counter elements. In the case of timer, they were called as timer elements. Yes. Here they are called as counter elements. You will see that figure here. This figure. This is counter number 5. As there is file number 5, there is counter number 5. This is C stands for counter, 5 stands for the counter, that is a file number, and 3 stands for the counter number. There we used T5:3 for the timers. T means timer, 5 means it is a file number, and 3 stands for the timer number. Here it's the same thing based on similar lines. C stands for file type, that is counter file. The next number is giving the file number, and the third number gives the counter number. It consists of three 16-bit words. As you can see, it is of 16 bit, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up till 15. 0 to 15 means 16 bits. Each word is of 16 bits, and the first word here, it is consisting of control bits. Control bits. Then word 1 is for preset bit, and the third word is for the accumulated value. Accumulated value. Okay. The control bit consists of various bits: count up enable, count down enable, CD. Count up enable is CU, count down enable is CD. Then done bit is DN, overflow bit is OV. Then this is underflow bit is UN, and this is update accumulator bit is UA. Update accumulator bit is UA. And these bits are not used for the user. It is meant for the internal use of the PLC. Okay, the user is not going to use these bits from 9 to 0. Then the second word, it is for the preset value, 16 bits. Third word is for the accumulated value. Okay. Each counter is consisting of three 16-bit words. They are called as counter elements. These three data words are the control word, preset word, and the accumulated word. Control word, preset word, and the accumulated words. Each of the three data words share the same base address, which is the address of the counter. Address of the counter is nothing but address of the data words. Whatever is the address of the data words, that is nothing but address of the counter. How many maximum counters can be? There can be maximum 256 counters. Okay, this C5:3, it is one of the counters. Then C5:255, it is the last counter, 256th counter. We can have the counters from 0 to 255 or 256 counters. Addresses for counter file 5, counter element 3, that is C5:3 is listed below. C5 means it indicates 5, indicates here counter number, counter file number 5, counter file number 5. :3 here 5, counter element 3, here it indicates that 0 to 255 counter elements per file. Okay, counter element 3, that is C5:3. C is for counter, 5 is for file number, and 3 is for the counter number, which counter it is. Then C5:3/DN, this is the address for the done bit of the counter. Address for done bit of the counter. C5:3/CU, this is the address for count up enable bit of the counter. Enable bit up direction, for counting up direction, enable bit, this is the bit address, C5:3/CU. Then C5:3/CD, this is the address for the countdown enable bit of the counter. Countdown enable bit of the counter. Okay, C5:3/CD, it is the address for the countdown enable bit. C5:3/OV, this is the address for the overflow bit of the counter. Overflow bit. CD is for enabling the countdown. Overflow means it is counting in the upward direction. It counts the maximum value. Say 255 is the maximum value. Okay, it will count from 0 to 255. After 255, there is overflow condition occurring. Overflow means it goes from 255, then 256 again comes down to 0, then counts again in the upward direction. If it is up counter 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up till 255. Again, if there is overflow condition, it goes from 255 to 256, then comes from 256 to 0, then counts in the upward direction again. This is called as overflow condition. Just like how the tank overflows, right? If the tank is filled with the water, and if it is overflow condition, what will happen? The tank water will come down to ground level, right? It will come down to, it will overflow and it will come down to ground level. It is the same concept. Okay. C5:3/OV is the address for the overflow bit of the counter. C5:3/UN is the address for underflow bit of the counter. Underflow means it is just the opposite as that of the overflow. In overflow, what is happening? It is counting in the up direction, 0 to 255. And once it reaches the maximum value, there is overflow condition. After 256, it's coming to 0, and again it is counting in the up direction. In underflow, what will happen? In underflow condition, what is happening? There is counting in the downward direction, say from 255 down to 0, right? Again, after 0, what will happen? It will come down to its maximum value 256, then it will come down to 255, then again it will count in the downward direction. Okay, downward direction, 255, 254, 253, 252, like this up till 0, right? This is how it is performing the down counting, and when there is down counting, there is a underflow condition that is occurring. Fine. C5:3/UA is the address for the update accumulator bit of the counter. Update accumulator bit. Okay, this is the address for the update accumulator bit, which is used along with the high speed counters. There is a high speed external counter, not the counter of the PLC. There is an external counter, high speed external counter. Then along with that, we are using this update accumulator bit of the counter. It is not meant for the PLC which is used in the system, but if we are using some other system high speed counter externally outside the PLC, for that high speed counter, this update accumulator bit is used. Okay. The next figure shows the counter table for the Allen Bradley SLC 500 controller. This is the counter table, as you all can see here. Yes, we discussed about this. It is the same table. The control word uses status control bits consisting of the following. There are various status bits. Status bits are the control bits. Which are the control bits? Control bits means what? Which control the operation of the PLC. Such bits are called control bits. Which are these bits then? Control bits, the same that we discussed just now. That is up counting. That is first bit here. That is CU. Then done bit DN. Then CD, down counter enable, overflow, OV, underflow, UN, then update accumulator bit, UA. Okay, these are the control bits of the PLCs. Let us discuss of about each of this. Count up enable bit. Count up enable bit. The count up enable bit is used with the counter up counter, and it is true when the count up counter instruction is true. Count up enable bit will become true when the count up instruction is true. That time this count up enable bit will also become true. If the count up counter instruction is itself false, if the counter instruction is itself false, the up counter instruction, then the count up enable bit will also be false. Similarly, for the countdown enable bit, for the countdown enable bit, the countdown enable bit will become true only if the countdown instruction is counter instruction is true. If the countdown counter instruction is false, then the countdown enable bit will also become false. It will also be in false state. If the countdown counter instruction is false, the CD bit is also false. This figure shows the counter table. What we can see in this figure here, what they have highlighted, this is counter. 5 stands for the file number and 3 stands for the counter number. All the bits are 0. Count up is 0, countdown is 0, DN done bit is 0, overflow, then underflow, and update accumulator bit, all are 0 except the preset bit. Preset is 50, accumulator value is 0. Once the counting process starts, up counter or down counting, the accumulator value is updated, right? It will go on changing. This is the address C5:3 and table is C5 counter it is. Okay, it is a counter table, right? Done bit is true whenever the accumulated value is equal to preset value of the counter, either for the up counter or for the down counter. If it is for up counter, when it reaches the maximum value, say 255, the done bit will be made equal to 1. For the down counter, when it reaches the minimum value, say from 255 to 0, that time the done bit will become equal to 1. Overflow bit is true whenever the counter counts past its maximum value, which is 32,767. Okay, so when this is the maximum value, when it reaches the maximum value of this much amount, the overflow bit will become equal to true. Okay, so for 16 bits, usually that how the counting operation is decided is 2:16. 2:16 they will take, and usually based on that they are maintaining this maximum value based on the value of 2:16. If the counter is say having 8 bits, if it's an 8-bit counter, then they will take 2:8. If it's a 16-bit counter, then they will take 2:16. If it is a 4-bit counter, 2:4. 2:4 means 16. So the maximum value of count is from 0 to 15. 16 is the maximum value, like that. Okay. On the next count, the counter will wrap around to 32,768. That is from 32,767 to 32,768, and will continue counting from there towards 0 on successive false-to-true transitions of the count up counter. Same thing that I explained, overflow bit. Suppose the maximum value is 255. After 255 up counting from 0 to 255, it will go from 255 to 256. Then again it will come to 0 and starts counting in the upward direction. This is called overflow condition. Then underflow bit, this will be enabled whenever there is underflow condition. That is, it will go from maximum value, it is counting in the downward direction, say from 255 to 0. Then from 0 again it will go to maximum value 256, 255. Again it will start counting in the downward direction. This is called as underflow condition, and underflow bit will be set equal to 1 whenever there is a underflow condition occurring. The counter will wrap around to 30,767. They are given just different examples. You can consider 255 or 30,767, whichever is convenient for you. You can consider that example and you can explain that. The basic concept is remaining the same. The counter will wrap around to 30,767 and continue counting down towards 0 on successive fast run transitions of the countdown counter. Update accumulator bit. The update accumulator bit is used only in conjunction with an external high-speed counter. Used along with the external high-speed counter. The preset value word specifies the value that the counter must count to before it changes the state of the done bit. Is it not? Preset value means the accumulated value goes on incrementing every time. Once it reaches the preset value, right, before the done comes, accumulated value must be equal to preset value. Only then the done will become equal to 1. The preset value next is the set point of the counter and ranges from minus 32,768 to plus 32,767. If it's a down counter, you can start counting in the negative direction. Okay, that's the example that we discussed here. This example, this figure, counting in the negative direction. This figure, -5 we have got here. Right? So this is how it is counting in the negative direction. Okay, the maximum value in the negative direction may be minus 32,768, and in the positive direction it can be plus 32,767. As they have got plus 4 and minus 5 here, similarly the maximum value in the positive direction can be 30,767, and in the negative direction it is minus 32,768. Okay. That is value stored in binary form. We discussed about discussing about the timers. The preset value is always stored in the binary form, and if it is a negative number, then it is taken a 2's complement of that number. Okay, suppose there is a binary number 110, right? What is 1's complement, students? Ones complement means making one which is 1 making it 0, and which is 0 making it 1. That is called as ones complement. So 1 1 0 means 0 0 1 it will become. 1 is made 0, 0 is made 1. 1 1 0 it is made ones complement. Taking ones complement means making ones to zeros and zeros to ones. So 1 will become 0 and 0 will become 1. Okay, that is called as ones complement. So 1 1 0 will become 0 0 1. This is ones complement. Then two's complement means adding plus 1 to the ones complement. Now what is the ones complement that we have got? 0 0 1. Add 1 to it. 0 0 1 plus 1. So in binary, if you add, you will get 0 1 0. 1 plus 1 is 0 with 1 carry. In binary, it is not the addition of natural numbers. It is addition of bits, zeros and ones. Right, in binary. So if you add 0 0 1 plus 1, 1 plus 1 is 0 with 1 carry. So you will get 0 1 0 there. 0 0 1. Suppose say you take only 2 bits. Suppose the information is the count value is say preset value is 0 1. What is the ones complement of this? 0 1 1 0 1 0 0 1 0 one's complement is 1. One's complement is 0. Wherever it is 0, make it 1. Wherever it is 1, make it 0. So 0 one's complement is 1 0. Add 1 to this. 1 0 plus 1. It will become 1 1. This is how the two's complement is obtained, and the value is stored in two's complement format for the preset value if it is a negative number. The accumulated value ACC word is a current count based on the number of times the rung goes from false to true. Based on how many times the rung is going from false to true state, that gives nothing but the accumulated value. The accumulated value either increments with the false to true transition of the count up counter instruction, or decrements with the false to true transition of the countdown counter instruction. If it is a up counter, the accumulated value will go on incrementing. That is for every false to true transition of the rung. If it is a down counter, that is count down, then every false to the rung, the count will be going in the down direction, to count in the downward direction. Okay. Count up counter instruction, the range is from minus 32,768 to plus 32,767. This is the range of the preset value. Accumulated value will continue to count past the preset value instead of stopping at the preset like a timer does. Now what the timer will do, once it reaches 255, it will stop here, but this will not do like that. It will go one count beyond that, from 255 to 256, and then it will go to overflow condition, and again it will start to count. But timer, what is happening? Once it reaches the maximum value, it will stop there. But counter is not like that. Once it reaches maximum value, then it goes to overflow condition, and again it will start to continue counting. Figure next shows the example of count up counter and its status bits used in the SLC 500 controller instruction set. Let us look into that figure. A simple diagram for the count up counter block instruction. Counter is C5:0. Preset value is 10. Accumulated value is 0. So in accumulated value 0, it goes up till preset value 10. The done bit will become high. C5:0/CU. This is the counter enable bit. CU, this one, to enable the up counting. Then C5:0/DN. This is for done bit. When the counter has counted, to indicate that the counter operation is completed, done bit is made equal to 1. C5:0/OV. Overflow status bits. This overflow condition is indicated by this C5:0/OV. Then reset bit C5:0. The reset instruction resets the counter's accumulated value back to 0. Okay. Address for counter begins at C5:0 and continues up till C5:255. That is the maximum value for the counter. The information to be entered includes what all information is to be entered. Counter number. This number must come from the counter file. Then the counter number here is C5:0, which represents counter file 5, counter 0 in that file. Address for this counter should not be used for any other counters. As I mentioned while discussing in module 2 with the timers, if some address, some memory location is used for one counter, then no other counters can have the same address. Suppose say there is counter 1, you are using some memory location. You cannot use that memory location for counter 2 or for counter 3 or for any other counters. That address or that memory location is unique for that particular counters. preset value, the preset value can range from minus 32,768 to plus 32,767. In the example shown, the preset value is 10. Here what they have indicated, they have shown the preset value as 10, right? Accumulated value can also range from minus 32,768 to plus 32,767, because preset value has to become accumulated value has to become equal to preset value. If the preset value maximum range is minus 32,768 to plus 32,767, the accumulated value is also having the same range, minus 32,768 to plus 32,767. Typically, as in this example, the value entered in the accumulated word is 0. Accumulated value is 0 as is shown here in this block instruction. It is 0. Accumulated value is 0. Regardless of what value is entered, the reset instruction will reset the accumulated value to 0. Whatever may be the value stored, the function of the reset instruction is to reset the or make the accumulated value to become 0. The next figure shows timer or counter menu tab. This is the menu tab here. Correct. Here they have selected timer bar counter. Of course, there are other bits. User bit is there, input bar, output is there, compare instruction is there. They have selected timer bar counter instruction. Here on the just at the top portion of the menu bar, we have this is timer on instruction, timer off, T off, then retentive timer, RTO, CTU for count up, CTD for counter down, then RES for resetting the timers and counters, and HSC for high speed counters. Okay, these are the various icons that are present on the main menu bar of the, that is for the RS Logix 500 controller, RS Logix controller here. Several timer and counter instructions appear when this tab is selected. The first three are for the timer instructions. The first three, T on, T off, and RTO for timer instructions, and the remaining are for the counters, and one is for the reset and one for the high speed counter. The next two instructions from left are the up counter CTU and countdown, that is CTD instructions. To the right of the CTU and CTD, there is a reset instruction. To the right of CTU and CTD, there is a reset instruction, which is used by both the counters and the timers. They are used in common. Reset instruction can be used by timer or by the counter. The counter commands can be summarized as follows. The counter commands are summarized like this. TTU, that is count up. Same thing again, same points. Increments the accumulated value at each false to true transition and retains the accumulated value when an off or on power cycle occurs. This is important. I have highlighted this previously also. It increments the count for the count up, but if there is a power off, whatever value was there, that will be retained. It will not become 0. Then for the counter down, decrements the accumulated value at each false to true transition of the rung. But if there is a power cycle off, the counted value, the countdown value will not become 0. It will be retained. Hence, it is called as retentive type of counter. Retentive means it will retain the value when there is a power cycle off, when there is a power off. HSC high speed counter counts high speed pulses from a high speed input. If there is a high speed input being applied, the number of pulses you all want to count it. So that is applied to the counter, and the counter will count the accumulated value up till it becomes equal to preset value. It will count that and it will give the count as to how many counts of the pulses that are being applied to this PLC or to the counter of the PLC. Okay. So that's all for today's class, students. I hope you all followed here, students. Any difficulties here? Any questions? Students, any questions here? I hope everybody followed. Yes, please. Everyone followed. Saval? Saval?
Yes, sir.
Was it clear, Saval, today's topics? Were they clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mudabbira? Mudabbira?
Yes, sir.
Understood the today's topics, Mudabbira?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Inoch? Inoch, any questions, Inoch? Any discussions?
No, sir. Clear, sir.
Okay. Okay. Sohail? Sohail? Want to discuss anything, Sohail? Any problem in understanding? Sohail Mullah? Sohail? Okay. Praveen Helavi. Is it clear, Praveen? Today's the topics. Praveen. Nemani Patil.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Clear.
Was it understood, Praveen and Nemani Patil?
Yes, sir. Clear. Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Clear? Okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, students, we'll continue with the next topics. Okay, still down counter is remaining, so we'll take up that down counter and up down counters. Those we'll discuss in the next class. Thank you, students.